Decision-making vocabulary words, prepared by Dr. Kim Townsell. Decision-making. A teenager is someone who is the ages 13 to 19 and may also be called an adolescent. Decision-making is the process of choosing between two or more options. We make decisions every day. An option is an alternative or a choice. Sometimes we say we don't have any options or alternatives or choices, but we do. We usually have at least two good options or alternatives or choices. A reference group. These are people who can help you with a problem or decision. If you're trying to make a decision, these are usually people who have made a similar decision, or they have some information that can help you make a decision. A problem is an issue that requires decisions and actions to make helpful changes. Problem solving is taking what you have, resources, to make helpful changes. If you're problem solving, you have to use decision making. Not all decision making is problem solving. Sometimes we're just deciding what we want to eat. So we don't really have a problem, we're just making a decision. But sometimes we have a big problem that we have to solve, and we do have to make a decision or sometimes several decisions to solve that problem. A resource, these are people, things, or skills that may be helpful. Types of resources that we have are books, computers, cars, houses. Those are called tangibles or things. You may have people who are resources, your teachers, your family, your friends, someone on the internet showing you how to do something on a video. Those are called people resources or human resources. You may have skills that may be helpful. You may know how to sew, you may know how to play basketball, you may know how to cook. Those are all types of skills, which are resources. A goal is what one hopes to achieve. It's the desired outcome. It's what we want to happen. You may have a goal of making an A in this class. You may have a goal of making a varsity team in high school. You may have a goal of becoming a millionaire by the time you're 30. It's what you hope to achieve. Goal setting is putting plans into action for those achievements. If you're just thinking about something happening, you're just daydreaming. Once you make a plan and put that plan into action, now you're goal setting. Values are what we think is important. We probably have a lot of values. Some people value education, honesty, good relationships. Some people value money. Whatever you value, whatever you think is important. A pro is the good and the positive. A con is the bad and the negative. Most choices that we have some pros, some good things about it, but they also have some negative things. For example, if you're looking at two different cars, the good thing about one may be that it's a little bit cheaper, but the bad thing about it may be that it's not quite as attractive. So most things in life have pros or goods, as well as having cons or bads. A consequence is what happens as a result of an action. Everything has a consequence. Implement is a fancy word meaning to put into action. What we say is just do it. If you implement your plan, you're doing it and you're putting it into action. Evaluate is a fancy word to say, well, how did it go? Evaluate is to measure the value or usefulness of something, and you evaluate all the time. If you buy something, after you wear it or use it, you're saying, well, did that work out for me? Did it not work out? You're evaluating. Now let's show what we know. Annellis is 13. She's considered to be a blank in the stage of adolescence. Blank blank is a skill we will use every day. So this is something we have to do every single day. Number 3, blank blank requires decision making. This is a little bit higher or harder than decision making. Number 4, other words for blank are alternatives or choices. Number 5, blank blank requires putting a plan into action. So you may get number 2, 3, and 5 confused, but use your context clues to figure out which phrase goes best. Number 6, A blank is something we must solve to make the situation better. We will have these in life, and we must make good decisions to try to solve them. Number 7, people who can help with decisions and problems are called a what? These are your experts. Number 8, a blank is anything that we can use to help reach a goal or solve a problem. These can be human, can be skills, can be stuff we have. Number 9, now Joe has a blank of being rich and famous as an adult. Number 10, what we think are important are called our. Number 11, the good part about an option is called a blank, and the bad part about an option is called a blank. Remember those two words that are good and bad? Number 12, a blank is the outcome of an action. Every action has blank. 13, blank is a fancy word for the phrase do it. And the last one, blank is a fancy word for judging the quality of something. Let's check our work. Annellis is 13. She is considered to be a teenager in the stage of adolescence. Teenager is the best word to put in the blank. Number 2, decision making is a skill that we will use every day. You could have gotten confused and thought decision making, problem solving, or goal setting might go in here, but decision making is actually something that we use every day. Will we brush our teeth before we wash our face? Will we do this before we do that? What will we eat for lunch? We make decisions all day long. Number 3, problem solving is a little more advanced. It's a little more complex than decision making. It may require you to make one or more decisions. So the correct answer for number 3, problem solving requires decision making. Your context clue there, it couldn't have been decision making because that's already in the sentence. Number 4, other words for options are alternatives or choices. Those 3 words technically mean the same thing as far as decision making. Number 5, goal setting requires putting a plan into action. You have to do decision making before you do goal setting. Goal setting is thinking what you want your outcome to be, making the decisions to make a plan, and putting the plan into action. Number 6, a problem is something we must solve to make the situation better. We have problems all the time. Some of them are good problems, some are bad problems, some are just things that are in our way. We have to solve these to make our situation better. Number 7, people who can help with decisions and problems are called a reference group. These are usually people who have experience or education to give us advice. This should be helpful. Number 8, a resource is anything that we can use to help us reach a goal or solve a problem. Remember, a resource can be a thing that you can touch. It can be people who can help you. It can be a skill that you have. Number 9, now Joe has a goal of being rich and famous as an adult. A goal is something that we hope to achieve. Number 10, what we think are important are called our values. Our values will probably change as we get older and have different life experiences. What you value now is probably not what you valued 5 years ago. What you're going to value 5 years from now may be very different than what you value today. Number 11, the good part about an option is called a pro, and the bad part about an option is called a con. So the good is pro, bad is con. 12, a consequence is the outcome of an action. They say every action has a consequence or an outcome. 13, implement is a fancy word for the phrase do it. If you implement a plan, you do it. 14, evaluate is a fancy word for judging the quality of something. We do this when we make a decision. Did I make the right decision? Did this work out for me? Did it not? What can I do differently next time? Now you know the vocabulary for our decision-making lesson. Well done. Dr. T's decision-making advice: make your decisions, enjoy the pleasures, the good stuff, and deal with the consequences, the bad stuff.